Okay, why the same meeting keeps happening over and over again? I want you to think about that. Have you ever been in a meeting and it feels like we've had this same meeting over and over again? I was on a leadership immersion session with some leaders of a organization today, and this one leader was talking about how this team was dealing with this decision that they were really settling with for over 6 or 7 years. They had been working with this one vendor or client, and it's been 6 or 7 years. It hasn't been a good relationship, and they've been unable to make a decision about this relationship. And they've kind of settled with it. They kind of made a decision, but they kept having the same conversation over and over again about how difficult this client is and why right things aren't working out the way that they are. And it made me think about this one question. It actually came up in this meeting quite a bit. We probably spent a good 45 minutes around decision making and how, as an organization, they need to do a better job at driving decisions, of having discussions, debating, and making those decisions and go. And it makes me think about this thing we hear all the time: is like, why do I keep attending a meeting talking about the same old thing over and over again? And there's a lot of things that you could probably say to that. One of the core activities that core skills, it's you can look at it as a skill, is teaching leaders the simple practice of naming the decision maker. Think about that. Have you sat in a meeting, had discussions where we're talking about why we can't move, we can't get things to happen faster. And we got all these reasons, right? It's that team, it's this constraint, it's we point the finger, it's that team, it's this function, it's insert whatever, and you put your reason. And one of the big things that we've identified is that it really comes down to there not being a very clear decision maker. And also, we actually don't even know what the decision is that we're trying to make. So, defining the decision and also defining the decision maker is one of the simplest actions you can take as a leader, or you, if you're an HR and L&D and you're trying to train leaders on how to make faster and more efficient decisions, how you can train your leaders on getting decisions to move faster. It comes down to helping a team, helping a leader build this muscle of defining the decision maker. And is the most senior leader always the final decision maker? No. One of the things that came up in this meeting was this issue of escalation, decisions getting escalated to the top of the organization too much. So they're trying to reduce escalation noise. And you've got these decisions that should be happening in different pockets of the business, but they're bubbling up because people are afraid to make the decision. And one of the things that makes them afraid is, of course, for fear of making the wrong decision, but also not recognizing that they are actually the decision maker. And so training leaders, or being a leader that can build this muscle of making sure that when we're talking about a decision, not only are we clear about it, but we're identifying who is making the final call. Who's going to be the person that, after we've gotten enough information, we now are going to look to this person to make the final call. And so there's actually a whole process that we train leaders on how to make decisions. It's called Decide OS. And the very first phase that we teach is define. You have to define the actual decision that you're trying to make, and you have to define the decision maker. And there's so many great things that happen after that, because then that now informs us, well, what people do we now need to lean on as contributors and stakeholders that help inform the decision maker on the best call to make. Now, there's so many other things, of course, right? Like, how do you know when you have enough information, and how do you go out and get that input? Um, how do you analyze the risk effectively? There's all those great things, right? That are important there. But if there's one thing that you can, right, instill in leaders, instill in your own leadership toolbox, it's this muscle of defining the decision maker. And that will help accelerate the speed at which decisions get made, and it will prevent unnecessary conversations, repeated conversations. It's one of the things. It's not the only thing, but it's one that will really help. So again, my name is Ty Miller. I'm a leadership consultant and a trainer with Lone Rock Leadership. and we provide consulting to the C-suite around how to deliver on the results that matter most. Work with tons of organizations, medium size, enterprise size organizations at the C-suite level, but also we train mid-level managers on areas around decision making and leading through change, and having greater accountability, all those different things. So with that, I hope this video was helpful. Feel free to drop a comment in the chat if you have any questions. Also got some resources below if you would like some additional help. All right, thanks for watching, and you have a phenomenal day.